Before hellfire and motorcycles, the Ghost Rider was already crossing the deserts of the Old West. Rex Fury was killed by ruthless bandits but returned from the grave as the original Ghost Rider, a spectral avenger determined to purge evil with his own legend. Rex Fury was a tough federal agent, known for his sense of duty and bravery in the far reaches of the Old West. Working undercover, he had taken down numerous gangs, but his reputation made him a marked man. On his final mission, he infiltrated the town of Banyan Gulch, ruled by a ruthless group known as the Singing Scourge, murderers who spread terror with trails of music and violence. They captured Rex and, even without proof, knew he was a spy. In a brutal and cowardly act, they executed him at sunset and left his body exposed in the hills as a warning to others. The local sheriff had been bought off and ignored the crime. To the townsfolk, Rex was just another forgotten corpse. But in the spiritual plane, a silent force was awakening. Rex's soul refused to move on. The injustice of his death echoed between worlds. And fate, like the dusty trails of the West, still had a path to follow. As crows circled his freshly dug grave, a storm formed without warning. Lightning tore across the sky as if the universe itself demanded justice. In the dead of night, a mysterious old man, the Guardian, appeared at the edge of the cemetery, chanting words forgotten by time. He summoned ancient forces and offered Rex Fury a pact, to return as an instrument of vengeance, at the cost of his soul and humanity. Rex accepted, not out of hatred, but because he could not accept impunity. In a spectral flash, his corpse was engulfed in blue flames and rose. His flesh turned to shadow, his eyes burned like lanterns in the dark, and a black cloak draped over his shoulders like death's own veil. Mounted on his horse, now transformed into an albino steed with hooves that never touched the ground, Rex became the Ghost Rider. His gaze silenced even the wolves. He was no longer a man. He was the embodiment of forgotten justice, and the ride of death had begun again. On the following night, the people of Banyan Gulch heard hoofbeats that left no tracks. Armed men vanished without a trace. A trembling survivor said, he wore black, had eyes like hell, and whipped with light. The Ghost Rider had begun his vengeance. He struck the hideouts of the Singing Scourge with supernatural precision. His senses guided him as if he could hear the heartbeat of guilt. The first target fell in the desert, consumed by flaming chains. The second tried to flee through the forest, but his gun turned to dust. The third, the gang's most brutal member, begged for mercy, but the Ghost Rider's justice knew none. His spectral whip was death itself. No blood was left behind, only ashes. The townsfolk prayed in fear. The criminals fled. But the Ghost Rider did not rest. His pact was not temporary. And the mission had only just begun. Now terror rode with purpose. The gang's leader, Bart Slade, hid on his fortified ranch, guarded by watchdogs and hired guns. He knew something supernatural was after them, but didn't believe in legends. He woke in the night to a sound like dry thunder. The dogs howled. Looking out the window, he saw a mounted figure lit by an unnatural moonlight. The Ghost Rider had arrived. The men opened fire, but bullets passed through him like smoke. The rider burst through the gates in flames. One by one, the gunmen were brought down. Time seemed to stop. Bart tried to escape through the back, but the spectral horse awaited him there. The Ghost Rider appeared like an angel of death. In a grim voice, he declared, "The law of the living has failed. Now comes mine." A gust of wind blew out the candles and plunged the house into darkness. The next morning, all that remained of Bart was a scorched hat, and a skull-shaped mark burned into the ground. The town knew, the last of the Singing Scourge had been judged. With vengeance complete, the Ghost Rider did not seek rest. He vanished from the town as he had arrived, mounted on a horse that left no footprints, wrapped in mist and silence. Some say they saw him crossing the desert at dusk. Others claim he rides near villages in danger. Criminals began spreading tales of the soulless rider. Even corrupt sheriffs feared him. simple folk stopped fearing the dark, and began respecting it. Rex Fury would never be a man again, but his legend would span generations. When the West forgets what justice means, he will return, a figure between worlds, punishing the guilty where the law has failed. Thus was born, or rather, reborn, the first Ghost Rider. And to this day, in the distance, under moonlight, the sound of hooves can still be heard, and a blue flame flickers in the shadows. And that's another page in the Heroic Chronicles. If you enjoyed this story, leave a like and subscribe for more untold tales from the world of comics. There's always another hero, another villain, and another turning point waiting in the shadows. See you in the next chapter.